If you want to be good at something, you've got to do it every day. I wake up in the morning, I splash water on my face, I brush my teeth, and I immediately walk over. And I get into a cold plunge. I'm going to tell you my routine. I'm going to tell you how you could do what I do for free. So I begin every morning with a deep meditation, the form of Zen meditation now. For 12 years, it's 45 minutes of sitting on pillows and emptying your mind completely. That's how I start every single day my morning routine. I wake up, I have an ice bath, I eat a delicious nutrient-dense meal, and then I work out. I pay myself first. I invest in me before I even step my foot out the door, and then I usually do some form of exercise right after breakfast. I go on my bike ride, or I do some kind of physical therapy work. You lose confidence in yourself, which you will by not having a routine and breaking little tiny promises to yourself. Now you can't exude confidence and authenticity to the outside world. You pay a price for that. Work ethic starts to boil down to how do I actually manage my days? Like, how do I actually get up in the morning, get something rolling, and do this 365 days a year, or whatever the pattern is over that time. To have any success in any event field, you have to be disciplined, and you have to have routines. I call them rituals, things that I repeat every day that feel comfortable to me, that don't feel like they're just boring habits, but they're kind of comforting. So I started to stop listening to other people telling me what I should do, and I just left space to experiment in the morning with the different things. So I got up and I read, write. So I just tried a bunch of things and then saw what was the best for me. I definitely need some sort of sense of accomplishment each day. He going to come down and you waking up and then having another great day, and then tomorrow waking up and having another solid day, like that pursuit of progress. So when I wake up in the morning, I have a very exact routine that I go through. I'm happy to share it with you. I wake up in the morning, I splash water on my face, I brush my teeth, and I immediately walk over, and I get into a cold plunge, and I kind of use the David Goggins method, which is like you can solve anything with massive action, and so I stand at the edge of it, and I used to negotiate with myself. Now I don't. Because I would say maybe I should get my coffee first. Maybe I should do this. So I walk in there, I get straight into a cold plunge. For the record, you could also do it with a cold shower. So I get out of the cold plunge, I dry off, I put shorts on, and in the next room I have a treadmill, and I get on a treadmill, and I walk for 3 minutes, sprint for 30 seconds, walk for 3 minutes, sprint for 30 seconds, walk for 3 minutes, and sprint for 30 seconds. I'm done at 10 and 112 minutes, but I'm using a Hypermax Oxygen, actually put an O2 mask on, and I'm breathing 95% O2. This is called multi-step oxygen therapy, or a what exercise with oxygen therapy. Maybe 15-20 minutes into my morning, I walk down the hall. I get into a red light bed for 10 minutes, a Theralite 360 red light bed. Then I have coffee, and I go outside, and I do 8 minutes of breath work. And then on the days that I'm working out, that's when I head to the gym, and it's simple. It sounds like a lot. It's 3 or 4 things all lined up in a row. I can tell the days that I do it and the days that I don't, but I expose my body to cold. I breathe oxygen on a treadmill. I get in a red light bed for 10 minutes. I have coffee. I do breath work. I'm only 30 minutes into my day at that time, and it's easy to go right down to the gym. And then by the time I'm back up from the gym, an hour later I shower, and I start my day, and I do that religiously every day. And when I travel, I'm the one thing that is always consistent, never ever miss, can't emphasize it enough, is I do 8 minutes of breath work within 30 minutes of waking every single day. I will miss a commercial flight not to miss breath work. It resets your circadian rhythm. If I can expose my skin to the sunlight at the same time, if you actually just make little promises and keep little promises to yourself, it is amazing what it will do for your confidence level and your self-esteem. You keep breaking promises to yourself, and that is the most detrimental thing for our psyche. To have any success in any EV field, you have to be disciplined, and you have to have routines. Often my best hours are in the afternoon. I try not to burn myself out, so writing is very intensive, drains a lot of your energy, so I never do more than 3 or 4 hours a day. I can't stomach it, but in those other periods when I'm not writing, I do a lot of research, a lot of reading, and then so my time is structured around that. I'm so grateful for the For Me Postco world is really great because I have much more routine. I used to be a road warrior, and I refuse to go back to a life always on the road anymore. So I will protect this routine that I have, which is waking up having one strongness. So that's just all you need because it's so delicious and enough caffeine. So we tape the National from the night before and watch in the morning because it's too depressing to watch right before bed, but nothing much has changed by the time dinner. Like I cook breakfast and fit some work in P-Trave, so it's a really very I don't know simple life. But beautiful, I love it. Work ethic starts to boil down to how do I actually manage my days? Like how do I actually get up in the morning, get something rolling, and do this 365 days a year, or whatever the pattern is over that time. So do you have, and I'm looking at you, Lisa, do you have routines? Rituals that feel like, okay, all of this stuff is true, but it's going to come down to me. Waking up and then having another great day, and then tomorrow waking up and having another solid day, like that pursuit of progress. What are the rituals and routines that you have? Yeah, I definitely have. Because I've had a lot of health issues, so for like 6 years I've been dealing with just like the worst gut issues can possibly imagine, and 6 years later, I'm still struggling. So just to kind of give you an idea of how bad it was. Because of that, I realized I had ignored my body. We were building Quest. I focused on how many hours am I putting in, am I on the grind, how do I make sure that I show up? Because I was so insecure, I definitely thought that if I put more hours in, it would like outweigh how incompetent I was. And so I just kept putting more and more hours and I was ignoring my health. My health absolutely fell apart. And since that my health fell apart, I said I cannot show up for other people if I don't take care of myself. It's obviously very cliche. We have the whole oxygen mask now before you put on someone else, but it's so true, and it took my health literally falling apart for me to realize, oh Lisa, you are a human being, you have to listen to your gut, you have to pay attention to your body. That then created an entire system of a morning routine for me that sets me up for success, because how am I supposed to impact people if I can't even take care of myself? So I created a morning routine that was definitely optimized to me. I tried a million different things. I tried meditating, I hated it. I tried yoga, I hated it. And then I realized my jam was going into the gym and lifting heavy weights, listening to music and singing at the top of my lungs. I realized I felt so good after I did that, so I started to stop listening to other people telling me what I should do. And I just left space to experiment in the morning with a different thing. So I got up and I read, and I was like, this is really boring, right? So I just tried a bunch of things and then saw what was the best for me. Same with the food. My breakfast has all been optimized because of my gut health. I've tested so many different foods to see what sets me up for the day with brain clarity, with energy. That's all to do with experimentation. Once I found all these moments of optimization, I then created my morning routine. But the biggest thing that changed it for me was my Saturday routine. I take Saturday mornings off completely. I switch my phone off. I tell I've told all of my friends, all of my family, you cannot reach me on Saturdays, period. Setting that boundary, setting that space, and then I'm creative. So I pick up a pencil and I just draw. It's all I do. And that's my time. That is what we call selfish time. It is my selfish time. And every Saturday, I do everything I possibly can to be at my art desk and serve myself first. So that is imperative. If I don't do it for a couple of weeks, I notice the difference in my spirit, my energy, my happiness, my enthusiasm. There was 20,000 people in the audience, and I was flooded with negative thoughts. You don't belong here. You were bullied. You're going to lose. People are going to make fun of you. I was that 14-year-old scared, bullied kid all over again. How do you think that match went? How do you think that fight, when it was one of the worst fights of my life, I lost? It was at that moment that I had to do some soul searching. I had to do some self-reflecting. I worked out harder than anybody. I was training 6 hours a day. I was a great wrestler. I was a great kickboxer. I was great at jiu-jitsu. I had all the skills necessary to win, but I realized that my weakness was here and I needed help. It was at that point I hired a sports psychologist and really started to do dedicated psychological practice. And from there, that's when I started to win. That's when I started to be successful, because I realized that mental preparation was absolutely everything. And so that every day, in addition to the physical stuff, I would do an hour of meditation, of journaling, of visualization, dedicated psychological practice. And then that's become a huge thing for me. And the people I train, psychological, purposeful practice, the first thing I realize is that you have to write it out. It's easy when you get tired to kind of fall short of it and say, you know what, I was just playing around. But when you write it down, there's something about putting pen to paper that makes it concrete. And it's kind of like making a promise with yourself or calling yourself out. When you write it, you really have to follow through with. And I always tell like my friends, my family, or anyone that I'm mentoring, is that it's about beating the tired man. Like, don't let the tired man beat you. A lot of times, just putting your feet on the ground and taking those steps is the hardest part. And so if you can get past that, usually if you have it written down, you can beat the tired man, then you'll finally start building those habits where you could continuously work towards your goals. Create some quiet time, this daily practice that have just turn the world off and just go to a place where you can go outdoors. or indoors where you can quiet your mind and just ask, just say, okay, universe, okay, give me some direction here. What are you know this inside-out style of living, this conscious style of living, this oneness, this unity thing. You know, give me a little direction, guide me, and I will promise you, if anybody that is earnest about that and tries it will be guided. What are your habits and your routines and your rituals that have allowed you to stay so mentally and physically sharp? Well, one thing was, when I had this house built, I had my bedroom built upstairs, so I'd have to go upstairs every night to go to bed, and that's been a good thing. I go up and down my steps. It's been very helpful because I understand the importance of movement. I understand the importance of walk. I try very hard to walk 3,800 steps in my little house here with my walker because I think it's very, very important to walk. I get up in the morning and I do my little